about, Project 2025, with one of the co-authors there at the Heritage Foundation, Stephen Groves. He joins me. Stephen, thanks for being with us here. You were watching Rebecca Castor's report there. This is a very lengthy report, platform policy plank, whatever you want to call it, guidebook maybe. It's 700 plus pages here. You start the document with some of these key tenets, the first being the restoration of the American family. Why start with that one? What does that mean?
Well, it's important because from the conservative standpoint, from the consensus standpoint of many of the experts that that contributed to the report, if you start with that foundation and build out from it, you can't go wrong. If you protect the sovereignty of the individual, the sovereignty of the family, and then work your way up to what makes sense policy-wise, there's little you can do to make that to mess that up. If you're looking about issues of inflation, healthcare, the economy, national security, when you start from the core component that has built America from the beginning, then the policy choices should follow. And it's a long book. It's actually over 900 pages, and along with the sanctity and protection of the family, those are the core concepts upon which all of the policy ideas in Project 2025 are based.
So speaking of one of those policy project ideas, reforming the administrative state, your critics have described that, you guys at Heritage, through this, want to dismantle the administrative state with kind of carte blanche federal firings of if there is a Republican president come January of 2025 here. Is that the goal of this? Can you explain that? What do you want the administrative state, these federal agencies, to look like? Say, if some of them are working in the EPA or at the Fed, who don't abide by or are not in line with, say, a Trump presidency and his ideological predilections?
Yeah. Yeah, so the agency looks. If the bureaucrats and the career officials that work in these agencies actually execute the policies and the agenda that President Trump wants to advance, the policies that he was going to be elected to advance this November, then there's not going to be a problem. The issue is we have 4 years of evidence from 2017 through 2020 of repeated efforts by that bureaucracy to slow roll or block or put up obstacles to the president's agenda. What the president did in 2020 and what we recommend that he does again when he wins in November is something called Schedule F. And it's something that drives the left and Democrats crazy, because what it does is it makes these federal bureaucrats accountable. When you have senior federal bureaucrats who make policy, implement policy, you need to be able to have them actually do that at the president's will and his timetable. So we're not looking to fire thousands and thousands of bureaucrats. That's not an efficient way to work at all. And it would be very inefficient to have to replace every single senior policy-making career official. We just want accountability. We want to be able to go to these long-term career bureaucrats who otherwise may be skeptical of conservative policies. I mean, you know as well as I that the federal bureaucracy votes 90% plus in favor of Democrats. We just want them to do their jobs.
Sure, but could a president, though, legally fire them if they're, say, not Senate appointed or confirmed?
Well, that's where the Schedule F comes in. The current state of things is you have these senior career officials who are protected by these civil, the civil service protections. And there's this long, years-long appeals process if they ever get disciplined, much less fired, just disciplined or transferred. There's this whole network of appeals that go into effect. What Schedule F would do would be to turn this particular layer of senior officials into effectively presidential appointments so that they can be transferred, disciplined, fired, or demoted if they're not doing their job.
You know, Stephen, I wanted to ask you as well. There's a lot of talk, a lot of information being thrown around about Project 2025, especially what you liken to a second American revolution. Can you understand why some of your critics might pause at that characterization of what the intent of Project 2025 looks like? Do you see where they're coming from or not when you describe a second American revolution in the project?
I can only see why they would take, a rhetorical flourish
Okay.
and try to turn it into some type of dystopian future, like the film that's out called, Civil War.
Sure.
But what we're talking about is, regaining control over the executive branch, resetting what the separation of powers was meant to be from the framers of the Constitution, rebalancing things. We got a big victory in the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court has reversed this so-called Chevron doctrine, taking away some of that regulatory authority from federal agencies. They did a great favor to the country and to President Trump when he's reelected in doing so. But, trying to turn a rhetorical flourish into what our policy ideas are is just lies and piling on and great mischaracterization of what Project 2025 is all about.
Okay, so just some more of those as well. A possible repeal of the Civil Rights Act, the 20th Amendment, a second American Revolution, bloodless if the left allows it. Also, I want to put this up too. You guys have been dispelling some of this on your social media platforms about end no-fault divorce. You say that is false. So are all these things false? Are people whipped up into a frenzy, or is there some truth behind some of them with the 20th Amendment, the Civil Rights Act? What are you calling for? Are you calling for them to be reformed, amended, repealed?
Well, that document you showed was kind of our myth fact sheet.
Okay.
Where the left has created some graphic and attributed a lot of crazy policy ideas to nothing that Project 2025 has ever advocated for. We're not hiding our work. I mean, this is the book that you mentioned. This is not a private document. You can go online to project2025.org and download this entire book for free if you want. It's all here in black and white. And so when the left goes onto social media to lie about the project and its recommendations, you can figure out what their intentions are. That graphic you're showing right there is actually one of the lies that Biden himself pointed to.
Okay, we've heard from Biden, we've heard from the First Lady, we've heard so many prominent Democrats almost each and every day since the debate bringing up in their mouth Project 2025. So they're using it as an attack line, the threat to democracy attack line against you guys. So we'll see whether or not it has any staying power, but they are on the attack about this, are they not?
They are. And you're quite right that it's happened since the debate because the party's in complete free fall disarray and there's absolute chaos going on within their ranks where they've realized apparently for the first time that their candidate's head is full of pudding and he can only work from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, wondering whether he's going to make it through the campaign, much less another 4 years. So their campaign now is to tell a bunch of lies about Project 2025 and then tell another lie, which is that it's Trump's project, which it's not. Trump will set the policy when he is elected to be president.
But why? But Stephen, why do you think former President Trump on Truth Social last week made it a point to distance himself from the project and to, in some ways, completely disavow it, saying if he gets elected, he's going to do what he wants? I mean, how did you guys take that? Were you working in tandem with members of the Trump campaign in this?
No. Project 2025 started 2 years ago before President Trump or any other candidate even announced their candidacy. The book that I held up there was published in April of last year. So we haven't worked in tandem with any candidate, and the project only speaks for itself as a coalition of 1,000 conservative policy experts and analysts. The president is running a campaign, and that is what his focus must necessarily be on. The president knows that when he's elected, he's the one who's going to set the policy. Project 2025 is just there to help, to make recommendations, and to support the president. You'll see a lot of parallels between the Project 2025 recommendations and the president's agenda, because at the end of the day, we're all conservatives, all looking to make America great again.
Okay, so if Donald Trump is elected here and say he doesn't listen to any of Heritage's policy prescriptions here, what if he doesn't take any of them into account? To your point, the RNC already adopted their policy platform on Monday. The RNC is less than a week away. Yes, there's a lot of overlap between this document and that document here. But if Trump gets into the Oval Office in January of 2025 and he has that on the Resolute desk, what if he just ignores it? What if he doesn't take any of it into account here? Will it just be a policy document from a DC think tank that goes nowhere?
That's a risk that Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, and hundreds and now thousands of conservatives that have worked on the project took. We're going out on a limb to spend a lot of resources, time, and money to make recommendations, though, to make policy recommendations, to make personnel recommendations, to develop transition plans. But it's all towards just trying to assist President Trump when he gets elected. We never set out to pretend that we were the ones making President Trump's agenda. The president has made his agenda, and you see from that RNC platform that there are a lot of overlaps there. If at the end of the day he doesn't want to look at any of our recommendations, of course we'll be very, very disappointed by that. Of course, there will be hundreds and hundreds of people who worked on this project who will likely be serving in that administration, because they are former Trump administration officials that will want to serve the president once again. So, of course, we hope and pray that the president and his team take a hard look at our recommendations. But there are no guarantees in life. All we can do as think tanks, and it's not just Heritage, it's 110 conservative organizations who are making these recommendations. But yes, we'll be disappointed if the president ignores everything that we have to say, but that's life.
All right, we're going to have to leave it at that. Stephen Gross, thanks so much for making yourself available to help explain for our viewers, what this now pretty big storyline in the election means, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me on.